Good day everyone and welcome to Stationeers. So, I am on the moon, there you are on Earth. If you look up into the sky, you'll be able to see me. I am jumping on the moon. If you pause the video, I will stay paused, jumping on the moon. Okay, of course that's not going to be the case, but you get the point. I'm on the moon, and the sun is rising. So for all connotation's sake, this is going to be east. The sun rises in the east, it's going to set in the west. Alright, that makes that direction north. Here we have our moon lander. And what I'm going to be doing today on the moon is I'm going to be building a space station. Okay, I'm not going to get it done in a single day, but we can make some good progress towards that goal. So, specifically what we have in mind here, I'm just going to quickly do a little look around here. I'm taking note of all the resources that are available here on the moon. We're going to be doing some mining. Not this episode, probably next episode. And we're going to be working, it's this episode we're going to be getting a nice little starting area here, you know. Just getting some resources put together to where we can actually work towards building the base. We have to first survive before we can thrive. So I've taken a good look around here. We've actually got some good resources. I mean, we have some gold right here, which is nice. I see some copper and some iron. There's a lot of good stuff around here. There's also some ice, which is going to be needed. But we only have so much time really to get going here on this first day. We want to get certain things in place. So, after having looked it over here, there's a lot of great, you know, this is actually a pretty good starting area. I think the main base may go in over here, or maybe it can go over there. Or it could even go in over here, which this wouldn't be too bad. But we need to set up a little starting point here, and I'm actually going to set it up right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place down a couple of these iron frames, alright? And the way I'm placing these iron frames is specifically I'm wanting... Ooh, is that going to be a problem? No, that's not going to be a problem. I'm wanting to set it up where... I'm going to do this a little bit differently than how I normally do it. We don't need our flashlight on here for this. I'm just going to place down these iron frames here. Alright, and what we're going to do now is, with these iron frames in place, we have kind of the basic layout there for what we're starting with here. While we're at it, let's get some equipment out here that we're going to need later. And I'll go over all of this either before I do it or after I do it, but I probably won't do it while, you know, go over what I'm doing while I'm doing it, because that just becomes a little bit difficult to explain as I'm doing it. So instead, I'm going to try and explain everything in a way that it makes it easier to follow. Now, these first couple episodes might seem a little bit rushed and fast-paced, but that's because we got to get some stuff going here, and it's preferable that we do it as quickly as possible here. So, really, I could have saved myself a lot of time here probably and just removed the construction supplies here. In fact, I might as well just do that now. Let's do that. So if I hit 6 here, I'm going to be able to access my tool belt. I'm going to get out a wrench here. I'm going to use the wrench. See how it makes this whole thing go yellow? I'm going to do that. And that's going to disconnect it from the moon lander there. Let me close the lid there. Alright, let's bring this on over here. Oop, I'm stuck on the moon lander's landing pad, or landing foot, I guess would be the correct word. That's the foot of it. Alright, let's go ahead and actually just put this stuff back in. I realize the foolishness of what I have done. I'll leave that stuff out. Let's go over to this side. That's food. We're gonna want to get the beacon out here. I'll explain the beacon later. Although the name should probably give you a clue as to what it's used for. That's the only thing we're gonna need from there. At least for now. I don't think we need anything from there, although let's grab these batteries here. I'll just put that there for now. And that leaves this chest here, which we're going to need stuff from there, but is there anything we need right away? there's one thing that I might want. So what I'm going to do is oh yeah, I'm going to need that, of course. We're going to need that. We won't need the atmospheric analyzer for a while, so I'll put that in there. Alright, we've got everything we need. So, these iron frames are the start of our construction, okay? We'll be able to place stuff on it, but right now we can't place anything on it. In order to place stuff, what we need to do... Let's plop you in there. What we need to do is we need to grab our iron sheets, which are right here. I'm just going to put this in here for now. Actually, let's clear up another inventory space. Let's place that down there. Deploy it. Okay, good. And what we're going to do, we have our iron sheet. Oh no, we have our plastic sheets. No. We want the iron sheet. Hang on. I'm getting my controls a little. There we go. There's the iron sheets. Alright, and we're going to want our welding torch. So we're going to right-click to turn on the welding torch, and we're just going to start welding here. And what this does is this makes it where we're actually going to be able to build on these iron frames. Likewise, they make it where we can walk on them without, here we can just pass right through them. But once we weld this up, we won't be able to pass through it. Now, there's two levels to this. If I were to continue welding this, it would actually turn it into a solid kind of block. Well, not really solid, but it would seal it up. Alright? So right now, air would be able to flow through this, but a sealed block wouldn't. So that's the way to think of it there. So with that done, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look for arc furnace. Here we are, solid generator. I want the solid generator. And I'm going to rotate the solid generator like so. Oh, actually, you know what? Hang on, let's do this differently. Can I still do what I want to do if I place it here? Yeah, I should have no... Actually, we could... No, we'll place it here. The placement is going to matter a little bit later on here for some of the stuff. But now we've got a solid fuel generator, and we'll go into what it exactly does. But as it says, it's a generator, so you can assume that it's going to generate something. I didn't quite do that right. Hang on. Oh dear. Alright, that's the first time I've just yeeted myself across the map there. That one wasn't actually too bad. There we go. It's a lot easier if I don't place it quite the way I did. But there we go. That right there was a basic solar panel I put down up here. So now we'll be able to catch the energy from the sun. It's not a very good solar panel. It's like our tier 1 solar panel here pretty much. But it will do for what we need. So we've got a solar panel and we've got a generator. I think you know where this is going. We're going to make some electricity here. So it's the solid generator. You put coal in. You flip this switch here, and it will generate electricity from consuming coal. Now, both of these things naturally have to, we have to send that power somewhere. And so that's the next thing we're going to do here. First, we're going to set up our destination for this power, if you will. And that's going to be this area power controller. Now, from this point on, I am not going to call this an area power controller. That is a mouthful. We are simply going to call it the APC. Okay? Area power controller. APC. Alright, so the APC, I'm actually going to scroll here to select the other one. That is the right one I want, right? It's kind of hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure this is the correct one. I'm going to place the APC here. It's one slot over to the right here from dead center. Okay? And I'm realizing I could have moved this over more. Yeah, let's do that really quickly. So if you place your generator and you want to move it, you can just use your drill there to... it's not a drill, actually. It's, well, it is a drill. What do they call it, technically? Yeah, hand drill. I mean, we're not actually drilling. We're using it to unscrew something here. But, yeah. So, by placing it over there, that would actually have made it much easier to get up here. That's not... which we're going to be going up there again, probably, at some point. Alright. So, we're going to place the iron sheets over here for now. We don't need them for now. Actually, let's put them in the box. When we're not using something, we're going to put it in the box. Oh, and I should add that in order to complete this, I placed a glass sheet on there. And that's going to... I didn't mention that, but yeah, I had to use some glass sheets to complete the solar panel. Next, we're going to take some wire here. Oh boy. It's begun, where I accidentally hit F instead of C when I mean to hit C. The controls in this game can take a little getting used to, especially if you haven't played it for a little while, but you pick them up pretty quickly, I find. So, we're gonna take this cable here. I will interchangeably use the term wire to refer to cable, but the proper term is cable. We're gonna plug the cable in there with a 90-degree bend, alright, and you can change the shape by scrolling, alright. And likewise, we're gonna come off of the generator here, and I'm going to use C here to just rotate into place. Now, there's a power port in the back there. You can't really see it too well, but if you get close enough to it here, well, might be easier from this side. Yeah. Actually, let's turn on the flashlight. You can see there's a little red lightning bolt there, and it says output. So that's our power connection there. And when your cable is on it, it will turn yellow like that. So that's a good way of knowing if you're lined up with it. So now I'm going to set I had it. I'm going to place another 90-degree bend here. And so now I'm going to connect the solar panel and the generator up there. So we've got two sources of power here. So on the APC, you have two ports on it. The one on the left here is our input, and the one on the right here is our output. Our output has the red lightning bolt. Our input has the three green boxes connected with a line there. I'll explain more about what that is later, but for now, just know that that is what your input is. So now we're going to connect it up here. However, it should be noted that we've already placed a wire here. Now you could disconnect the wire and then place down a, there it is. Hang on, let me get oriented the way we want it. We could place down this cable junction there instead, or we can simply just place it over it. Now, please note, I have 44 cable. When I place this down, it's going to be 43. If I were to place this down over here, it would consume 2 cables. Alright, it takes 2 cables for a three-way junction. So, if I were to add a make this a 4-way junction like so, how many cables do you think it will use? The answer may surprise you. Take a little moment to, think about that. The answer is 0. It's actually going to use 0 cables when I place this down. Alright, I'm on 43. I'm still on 43. So let's go over the logic behind this a little bit here. And the best way to do it is, think about it this way. This here is a 6-way junction right here that I'm about to put down. Alright, so I'm just going to put this 6-way junction down here. Alright, the wires go off in all directions. If I were to, so let's take a look at how a 6-way junction is essentially constructed. If I place a cable, I should say, like this, that was 1 cable I consumed there. Alright, this is just a straight way. We have side A and side B. If I place one like so, I'm using another cable. And now we have a 4-way junction. So likewise, if I place one like so to make our 6-way junction, that's a 3rd cable I used. So the most you will use for any junction will be 3 cables. Alright? It's best that you understand as how the cables kind of function with that, because when you start figuring out how many cables you need for something, it's going to be helpful. So I'm going to place a 90 off over here, and we'll get to why I'm doing that later. For now, just, follow along. I'm also going to now work on the input side here, and we'll get into what the APC is more here in just a moment, but now I'm going to place a downwards 90-degree bend there. I'm going to place an upwards 90-degree bend here, and I'm going to place a straight section connecting them. Alright, so now we're set to actually put some stuff in here, but first let's talk about the APC. The APC, let me open it up here with my crowbar here. The APC kind of has 3 functions. The first function, which should be the most obvious looking at it, is we've got an on-off switch here. Alright, we have our input on the left and we have our output on the right. It's when the switch is in the off position, no power is going to flow out the output. When it's in the on position, we'll have power on the output side. The second function of it, besides being a little toggle switch there, oh, I have it on me, is there is a battery slot here. All right, and if we take this large battery cell and put it in here, you'll see that we have a green light that comes up when it's in the on. If I turn it off, that means that the green light goes out. So that's how you can tell if it's on or off. Now, there's a bit more to that little color indicator there, and we'll get more into that once we have some stuff that's using power and we're generating power. But for now, we're just going to point out that you can put a battery in here, and you can take power from the battery and supply it to the stuff on the right here. Likewise, if the battery's in there and you have power coming in, you can charge the battery. So this can also act as kind of a battery charger, as well as allows you to take the power from the battery and power devices that are connected to it. The third thing that the APC does, and I'm going to close it off here for a second so that we can talk about this, and that's this little green thing here. So there are data connections. You'll see that there's a data connection here as well. Sometimes the power and the data connection is actually the same thing, as is the case here. Power and data both can use the same cable. All right. If a cable is providing power, it can also provide data. All right. The two are not exclusive, although sometimes you'll want to separate your data from your power. We'll get more into data and stuff later. But basically, to understand the advantages of data is, let's say I'm not generating any power right now with the solar panels because the sun's not out in the sky. So let's say I need more power over here. All right, let's say my battery is really low and I want to recharge my battery, or I'm going to need more power than I have here. I could create a system with different kinds of controllers and circuit type things here, and I could make it where if the power level, as I could read the power of the battery here and the state of the APC, and or I could, if I have an external battery somewhere else, we'll get to those in a long ways off, I think. Well, maybe not too long. But the point is that if I've got a battery and I see that, oh, the battery level's low and I need to charge it, I could set up a system here where it tells the generator to turn on and charge the battery, and then tells it to turn off when I no longer need to charge the battery there. There's there's all sorts of things you can do with data. Just understand that data connections are a thing. Now, why do you need to understand this? Well, the APC actually separates data networks, okay? On the left here, all right, our input side, this is network A. On the right here, we have network B, which is our output side. Network A and network B do not see each other because there's an APC in between. Now, that might sound inconvenient, but when you have a bunch of devices on this side and you're wanting to set up something on this side, or vice versa, having an APC separating your networks can be quite useful. All right, so just know that the APC does three things. The first thing that it does is it acts as an on-off switch here. The second thing the APC does is it provides you a way of using a battery cell here. All right, and the third thing that it does is it allows you to create different subnetworks of devices with the data ports. So that pretty much covers our APC. Now let's move on to setting up some actual devices to use our APC. The first thing we're going to put down here is an arc furnace. And I got to make sure this is oriented correctly. So the arc furnace, let me put it down here. You just put it down and it's good to go. You don't have to do anything with it. The arc furnace takes in power in the front here. We have a slot here for us to insert whatever it is we're going to put into the arc furnace. We have a power switch, and we have an activate button. On the back, we have an output and a data port. We're not going to be using the data port. We're going to be using it for now, at least. But what this does is when we mine some resources, say we mine some iron, all right, we take our iron, we put it in here, we turn it on, we push the activate button. This is going to close, and it's going to start smelting our iron ore into iron ingots. And then when it's done, it's going to output the iron ingots here. We'll then we can use those iron ingots. Okay? You can only put one thing in at a time there and stuff. Well, not one, one stack of things, I should say, in at a time. You can't smelt iron and copper at the same time. All right? that pretty much, it will make, all this will make more sense when we actually start using stuff. So I'm going to connect it up here. And once again, this is a good way to showcase the importance of having the wire cutter out there. Actually, let's do it this way. So I cannot actually modify this without you having the wire cutters in hand there. So I can now turn that to a freeway junction. Let's just build off here a little bit. That's good for now. The next thing we're going to deploy is the Autolathe. The Autolathe is pretty much like a crafting bench. And as you can see, I've placed it down here, but we got to do some more assembly with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some iron sheets. We're going to need some plastic sheets. I'll put those in here for now. And we'll get our cable and put that in here. So we're going to take our welding torch here. I had to think of what it's called. And please note, make sure you turn it off. I should have said this earlier. When you're not using it, turn it off. Right-click to turn on. We're going to use it. We're going to turn it off. There's two reasons why you want to do that. The first reason is because it's going to use fuel. There is a fuel source in here. If I drop this on the ground, you'll see we have a canister here with fuel in it. Alright? You use fuel every time you use it, and if you leave it on, you're just going to be wasting your fuel. You don't want to waste your fuel. The second reason you want to turn it off when you're not using it is you're going to want to make sure it doesn't overheat because it can explode if it gets too hot. And you don't want that to happen. So we're now going to use, I think it's 4 cable. Yep, 4 cable to add that in. Then we're going to take our plastic sheets and we're going to get our welding torch again. Here we are. Right click to turn it on. And there we go. We have now constructed the Autolathe. Oh wait, no we haven't. There's one more thing we need to do. We need to use a screwdriver here. And now it's complete. Okay, so we're going to hook that up here with the cable. Place it here, and we're going to go into a 90. You want the one on the right, the power. We don't want to hook it up to the data. We don't need the data right now. But just like that, we have already assembled everything we need to get started here. So if we turn this on, we'll be able to provide power to our devices. Now, I'm going to briefly go over the Autolathe here, and then we're going to end this episode. So the Autolathe has an input here, or an import as it's called there. That's where you put your resources. So if we smelt our iron here, we'll take it here and we can put it in here. Okay? It's got a power button, so we've got it turned on right now. We're actually using the battery, and we'll go over what's going on with the battery functions later. But for now, what we can do is we can hit we can navigate recipes like this. So right now we'd be making a cardboard box. If we click over here, we'd be making a coffee mug, because that's very important right now. That's absolutely essential for our survival. Likewise, we can click here and we can search for whatever it is we want to build. And this is basically our crafting bench, or at least one of our crafting benches. Likewise, we can see what's inside it. If we look at this little display here, it lists the contents. Right now we don't have anything in there, so there's no contents. And if we pull this lever, we can actually empty the contents. And our output is over here. So if I were to pull this lever here, it would start ejecting the contents of the stuff there. Automatically, it will eject your finished product once it's done building. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it was kind of fast-paced there because there's a lot we have to cover. I'm going to turn it off for now. But it's very important that you get a good start going here because you're on the clock when you're starting out here. You got limited resources and you need to take advantage of that. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider hitting the like button and also subscribing to the channel if you haven't already done so. I would greatly appreciate that, and I hope you have a wonderful day.